Hi, this is Jo and welcome to my Inspired Action Minisode series. These episodes are meant to help you think about your business in a new way and to take inspired action. Join me as I walk around my London neighbourhood and I discuss the most asked questions I get as a business coach. Let's dive in. Today's question that was posed to me was, how do I just get started on a podcast? And obviously I'm doing my podcast, so I'm delighted to be able to share my experience. I'm not going to tell you that this is best practice. This is what everyone does. What I am going to tell you is it's worked for me. And given that I started my podcast about 5 months ago and it's going really well, and it's something that I can fit into my everyday life with ease without worrying that I'm not sure where my next podcast episode is going to come from. Something I'm honoured to share with you how easily it can be done. So I'm going to take a few minutes and run you through the steps that I have done to make my podcast a weekly thing that's gaining audience and hopefully helping people build their business, which is the whole point of it. I hope it's helping you. So here we go. First off, don't worry about flashy tech. Everybody gets all wrapped up in this idea that they've got to set up some flashy podcast station with soundproofing and fancy microphones. And whilst, it's great if you've got all of that, I literally record my podcast on my mobile phone, which is an iPhone 11, and I go into my daughter's closet and I record my episode. Now, I'm in London in the UK, and our wardrobes, as we say, are not massive rooms like some of the closets that I see some podcasters in the States have. I'm literally talking about their standing room only. So I walk in and I shut one of the doors, leaving one open just enough to allow the light in. And I hold the phone up to my mouth and I talk into it. And that produces a good enough sound quality that I can literally publish it. Now, my husband's a musician and I'm fortunate that he's got an ear for this. And he's also got some flashy tech stuff that he could run my podcast through. But even he admits that the majority of my recordings are absolutely sufficient. Now, please don't judge this recording because I'm actually walking through the woods at the moment because that's where I record my Minisode episodes. You might even hear a little bit of rain in the background. But even this recording is literally into my iPhone walking through the woods. So please don't ever think that it's not good enough for you to make a start because you haven't got the tech. So from this point forward, there's no excuses on that. Now, then there's the sound editing part. Now, sound editing does take a little bit of skill, but I've literally taught myself how to do it. There's a piece of software called Audacity, which is absolutely free, and I've downloaded it onto my laptop. I think you can do GarageBand on a Mac, but I literally use Audacity, and I learned how to use it watching a few YouTube videos, which literally taught me the basics, which is all I need, which is how to cut out the bits that I don't want to remain. I don't tend to cut out all the ums and ahs, but I do have a technique which works very well for me, which is when I'm recording, if I say something wrong, I make a mistake, I forget what I'm doing, I literally just pause and I allow a large gap. Because then when I'm editing it, I just look for those large gaps and I know that I need to edit out something that happened immediately before the gap started. It makes it so easy. And I can edit maybe a 20-minute episode in about half an hour. Now, I use Anchor in order to get my podcast out into the world. And it is the easiest platform. It couldn't actually be any easier. It's completely free and you can just publish your podcast on that. Now, a lot of people will tell you that Anchor isn't the best solution longer term for a number of different reasons, like sponsorship money and whether you own the rights. There's some debate over the pros and cons. But I will tell you this, if you're going to make a start, just start on Anchor because it can be moved over to any of the other platforms later. And too often we use excuses like this in order not to start at all. So you can make a start on Anchor and you can make decisions about your future platform at any point. You can literally pick up all of your episodes and move them over to another platform. It's apparently really easy to do, and it's actually something I'm going to be doing next month. I mean, really, the only other things to add is that you have to create some show notes each week to add to your episode. And these don't have to be complicated. Check out my show notes, and you'll see that when I did full episodes, you've got longer show notes. But when I do these minisodes, I've just kept it short and sweet. I don't want it to be a barrier for me getting my message out, and neither should you. Just as a quick postscript, I would say that podcasts are really great if you include a call to action. This can be anything from downloading a lead magnet to booking a call with you. On this particular episode, I would like to invite you to share my podcast with anybody that works in a similar area to yourself, whether that's somebody in your pod or somebody you've met on a program. My dream is to grow my podcast and help as many people as possible. And if you are enjoying it and you could help me with that, I would be eternally grateful. So if you've been considering a podcast but holding back, my inspired action invitation for you today is to take the next step. Use one of the pieces of advice that I've given you today just to make it easy and move forward. No more excuses. Your message needs to be heard. Enjoy your inspired action today. Take care. Bye now.